and welcome back to my channel. I am super glad to have you here. My name is Teresa Beretta. I am the operations consultant behind LoopLink, a operations management consulting firm, and we specialize in helping agency owners optimize their operations and scale their agency beyond themselves. So today I want to talk to you about one key component that I always get asked about whenever I coach clients or I work as a director of operations, and I'm often asked, who should I hire? An employee or a contractor? It's very easy to understand why there's so much confusion around it. And today I wanted to break it down with you and understand the pros and cons and the benefits of either hiring an employee or a contractor, or maybe even both. So let's get to it. So first, let's consider some of the distinguishing differences between both categories. So first, I'm going to talk about the employee category. Now, an employee is defined as a person who works for a business or organization under a contract for hire, where the employer has the right to control the details of the work performance. That means they can set your working hours and determine what activities that the employee is responsible for and the priorities and focus of that employee. Now, the employment is usually guided by labor laws and regulations. And so when you get into the employment realm, as an employer, you have some obligations to make sure that you are operating under very standard practices, especially for human resources. You can fire them with cause, for example, and typically there is going to be a termination period. So make sure that you are aware of the rules and regulations that you need to operate under when you are ready to hire your first employee. Now, the other key component with having your own employee is that you need to be able to supply the tools, techs, resources, training, and all of the good stuff that comes into investing into your employee. Alongside that, as you are performing payroll, you also need to make sure that you are taking care of the tax obligations on behalf of your employee. One of the key components and differentiating factors as well is that apart from controlling the work performance, you're able to also identify how the work gets done. So for example, if you have my agency way, your employee typically needs to oblige by that process. Also as well, in the employment realm, they are eligible for benefits, whether it's taxable benefits, vacation benefits, health spending benefits, whatever kind of benefits it is, it usually is more contained for employees. And the other component as well is usually they are restricted from working for others. So that means there's no moonlighting and that you as their employer should be their primary focus and priority. Now, let's talk about an independent contractor, because typically this is a very broad spectrum. And how I like to think about it and simplify it is that independent contractors are typically either freelancers, solopreneurs, or business owners who works alongside you in a B2B or a business-to-business component and structure. Now let's take a look at what are some of the main differences and distinguishing differences of an independent contractor. So when you are hiring an independent contractor, you typically cannot set their working hours. They have their own flexibility that they can operate in order to get the work done. They operate based upon scope of work and contract and deliverables and results versus the process itself. Also as well, the most differentiating differences is that independent contractors are responsible for their own taxes. So which means although you do pay for a higher upfront cost, instead of like, for example, if you can afford an employee for $15, but a contractor might cost $25. But in the end, you need to take a look at where you are paying your taxes to. And typically the independent contractors are responsible for their own taxes and making sure for their own remittances and claims. Also as well, contractors will typically have more than one client. So they can have 2, 3, or 10 clients all at once. You may or may not be their priority, and hopefully you are, because every client should matter. But either way, contractors typically serve many clients versus just only one. Also, as well, the biggest differentiator is that when you hire on a independent contractor, they typically will come into your business with a specialized service or skill set or expertise. For example, if you need someone to optimize your operations, you're going to be looking for a specialized contractor who knows what they're doing, who can easily step into your business. Even though it's a higher cost, you're getting that back in time. You're not going to be spending the time in training them, in equipping them with the tools and things like that. They may need access, but they should be able to step in very easily and effortlessly manage some of the components that they are responsible for, or to be able to move the project forward. Now, independent contractors can have different calibers of where you bring them in. You can have a contractor who does a lot of execution and implementation. You can have a contractor who provides more consultation and strategy. And then you can have a D or C level contractor who provides strategic visioning or objectives with your organization and helps propel your agency towards the growth that you are desiring by setting forth a roadmap or business plan or marketing plan, whatever is the case. They're going to be working alongside you in that capacity to be able to help move your business forward. One of the best things about having a contractor is that you can actually bring them in when your business is at capacity and it just needs that added assistance and support to get through the projects and to be able to continue to ramp up with you. And also as well, when you are ready to ramp down or have a cooling period, you can then also as well remove them off of projects as you are ramping down. You can have them for a very specific period of time. Now, when it comes to projects, you'll have to be cautious and weigh your pros and cons of what makes sense. So let's talk about when you should consider hiring an employee versus hiring a contractor. You should be considering hiring an employee if the work needs to be done under supervision. So that means someone who's going to be working alongside you on a specific target or projects or things that just requires attention. If you need to control the hours and the tools and equipments and things like that for the employee, then definitely the employee route will be the beneficial of the two. And on top of that, you are needing someone there who's going to be able to shift and navigate with you and keep the costs controlled and maintained. In those instances, that's where an employee will be in your best favor. Now, when to consider hiring an independent contractor. So let's say that the work is not central to your business, that you can outsource or it can be managed outside of the core of your business, such as cleaning the office, maintaining your website, maintaining your social media presence. Things like that can actually be outsourced and it doesn't impact the scope of your business mission or vision. Instead, it just really complements it. If the work can be done by a professional or a seasoned expert who doesn't need a lot of supervision, the work is a short-term project or can be completed within a defined period of time by a defined scope of work, making sure that you are going to be able to hit budget, time, and quality. And also as well, if the contractor has a set professional expertise or highly specialized skill sets who needs little supervision and who can provide you with that extra little cushion or push to be able to help you reach the next level in your business or to be able to accelerate your agency growth to your desired goals. Either way, there's really not a right or wrong. It really depends on your business model, what will work for you, long-term, short-term, whatever is the case. The key component to making this all work is really defining the scope of work, the roles and responsibilities, and on top of that, how do you work within your core values? So for example, if you know that you just need someone right beside you every single day, being able to count on them being there at 8 a.m. until like 2 or 3 p.m., then the employee may be a better consideration. Whereas if you know you're just looking for that added specialized assistance where you are having a professional stepping into your business to fill in the gaps that you are experiencing because you may not have time, you may be not as skillful in that area, or it's just not your zone of genius, that's where they can really complement that factor. Now, keep in mind that an employee can actually work in conjunction with a contractor and make that cohesive team for you. So all in all, I hope I provided you with ample details on the differences between an employee versus a contractor, and when should you consider hiring one or the other, or maybe both at the same time. If this has helped you, please definitely leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm Teresa Beretta, Operations Consultant with Loop Link, and I hope to see you in the next video.